My body wasn't ready for this Star Wars news. It was not. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and I got a doozy of a Star Wars update for you. Chris Avellone is often idolized in this community we've created together because he's worked on some of our favorite games of all time. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Tyranny, the most recent Prey. The list goes on. Wherever Chris goes, you can feel the impact of his writing talents, which is why it's really exciting that it broke over the weekend that Chris Avellone is going to be bringing his talents to a new upcoming Star Wars game. Can I just say, as a KOTOR fan, let's go. Bruh. Yes, you saw my Ninja Turtle pajamas. Let's start off with where we got this news from, of course, Twitter. Edward asks, what games are you working on currently besides Dying Light 2? Which Chris responds with, I can't say 100% because of NDAs, but the ones I can say, I just finished up work with Jedi Fallen Order, and beyond that, there's another big bomb dropping in a month, or I mean, maybe. So I'll get to speculating what I think that third game is, but let's get into Star Wars because this is incredible news for this upcoming game. But what's more important is how long did Chris work on this? And according to his LinkedIn profile, he was a narrative designer / writer for Respawn Entertainment for just under a year. The job description says narrative designer / writer, contractor, did story work, story character reviews, and wrote cinematic scripts for Jedi the Fallen Order. For those not in the know, Jedi are basically space monks who use telekinesis, mind control, and occasional bursts of laser sword violence in order to impose their values on the rest of the galaxy. Even the job description has good writing. What is happening? What? And it's not going to be too long until we get a taste of Fallen Order because we were just told last week that at Star Wars Celebration in April, we'll be seeing our first look of Jedi Fallen Order, which is definitely coming in the fall according to EA. And I know what you're thinking because I dropped the awful 2 letters there, EA. Matty, why should I care? Chris Avellone could be here. Any developer I care about could be on this team, but EA's involvement has killed this game for me, and I hear you. And this is not for me to encourage hype, but more so hope. Respawn has successfully taken over the internet and really made themselves quite popular in the gaming community with a little title you may have heard of called Apex Legends. Now, I know a lot of people aren't on the Battle Royale wave, but personally, I love the game, okay? And I'm not a Battle Royale guy. I enjoyed my baby steps into Fortnite, but quickly fell off. I will argue for the rest of time that I think that Apex Legends is one of the best shooters ever made from the terms of handling, controls, and feeling. I mean, I swear I went from Call of Duty to Apex Legends and back and thought, oh my god, Apex Legends is such a better shooter. Point being is that Respawn is a very talented developer in my opinion. They also worked on Titanfall 2, which is one of the most underrated games of this generation, and is also one of the most overlooked because it didn't sell all that well and had a fantastic story attached to exciting multiplayer that controlled as well as Apex Legends, which a lot of people are enjoying. But you may already know Respawn is fantastic, so what's important about all that information that I had just dished out there is that EA was not involved in the development of Apex Legends. They had nothing to do with that game. That was all Respawn. And just like with that, we also have Jedi Fallen Order, which had development start in 2014, long before the EA acquisition came into effect in 2017. Now, this doesn't mean that EA didn't come in these last 2 years, that there wasn't some type of effect on the game because they were involved, but it looks like Respawn had a lot of time to put things together, set a vision, and go for it over time without any intervention. We saw how that panned out with Apex Legends, and perhaps I'd imagine with the massive amount of money EA is making off that game, that there is a very good chance that Respawn just can go do what they need to do with this game because EA is like, yo, you're making us millions and millions. Now, the reason I think Chris Avellone's inclusion in Jedi Fallen Order is actually not because of what we've seen from him in Fallout, like New Vegas and Fallout 2, but more so what we saw from him in KOTOR 2. I think Chris Avellone has a very interesting understanding of the Star Wars universe, and he manages to paint complex, morally gray characters into the universe that have their own motivations, ambitions, and it's not always relying on the tropes of I'm fighting for the light and I am evil, so therefore I will fall to the dark side for more power. It's like, okay, drop the tropes, do something original, and that's what KOTOR really did. And that's why over the years, while Knights of the Old Republic 1 is my favorite game of all time, I personally believe KOTOR 2 has just aged far better. It's less linear morally, and in turn you find more interesting character interactions, and you still have that same gameplay system with some new animations put into the game. So therefore I just think the game's a lot better nowadays. But you can feel Chris Avellone's impact on these games. It's not like he controls the fate of the story. It's not like the guy can't mess up. I'm not going to paint him like this deity-like figure, but I still think that it's very exciting to know that he has a lot of control on this game. Seeing that Chris was able to review characters is the most important aspect, but more so that he's also doing scripting for the cinematic scenes means that a lot of the punctual moments in the game are going to be by his hand. But it doesn't seem like he was writing the characters, he was more so giving feedback for them, which I think is also important to shape what I think is the best part about Star Wars, and also what was the strongest aspect in my opinion of KOTOR 2. So hopefully we'll see more waves like that appear in Jedi Fallen Order. There's a lot of potential here now because of Chris Avellone's presence at the very least, and I'd say it raised a lot of people's attention knowing that he's working on a Star Wars story. Lastly, just for the sake of discussion, is what is this big bomb that Chris may be dropping later this month? The speculation is a new Vampire the Masquerade game, which I think I can hear a lot of the classic RPG community rejoicing for. This was a really popular one back in, I believe it was 04. It's a game I actually never fully got around to up until a few years back, and even then I did not complete my playthrough, but what I did play was fantastic, and it's right up my alley. And if you like those types of RPGs with lots of choice and consequence, multiple builds, factions, and so on, then this game is definitely for you. Please give it a whirl. But what's most exciting is that it may be making a return. Right now there is a ARG going on called Tender, which is focused on blood type, and it's this fake dating site that seems to be based a lot around the Vampire series. There was an interesting trademark submitted. There's been talk of bringing the franchise back, and seemingly when there could be a reveal lands around GDC. So I believe it's safe to expect that Chris will be working on Vampire the Masquerade, which will once again put this game on a lot of people's radars. I think it's tremendously exciting for folks to know that Chris is working on a game. I mean, for God's sakes, he responded to a fan's tweet and in turn made headlines. His impact is very obvious, and developers are finally taking note of that. I can only cross my fingers that Bethesda does that next with a Fallout game, because that would be terrific. Maybe that's what he means by bomb dropping. I'd say it's more so safe to imagine that it's probably Vampire the Masquerade. Anyway, that's all the information I had for you today. More than anything, I'm just excited to see more on Jedi the Fallen Order. I get EA's involvement may put some folks off, so I'd say wait patiently, but at least you have something to be optimistic about, right? I think it's better to look at the glass half full than half empty 24/7, right? So now we can step into the Star Wars Celebration weekend with a little more optimism in our chest and really puff it out and go, yeah, here we go. This is gonna be good. And if it ends up being a letdown, then we can just go, it's EA. Are we surprised? I imagine they'll do what they normally do for these Star Wars Celebration reveals: cinematic trailer at the Celebration, big gameplay reveal at E3, release in November. Just my speculation there, but I'll catch you guys next time, and I can't wait to read what you have to say in the comments down below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that, as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.